What's going on, podcast listeners? Devin here, the founder of Into Motion Media. Are you a business looking to tell your story but don't know where to start? Or an e-commerce company looking to take your marketing to the next level? At Into Motion, we create results-producing media with the mission to make video easy to incorporate into your marketing. Let's put your ideas into motion. Learn more at intomotionmedia.com.
Welcome to the Ever North podcast, where we bring on the explorers, dreamers, and discoverers to find out what their true north is in life. Hope you're all having a great day and enjoy the show.
Today on the show, we have author of the Bible study and creator of the brand Sunday, Zach Windahl. Welcome to the Ever North podcast.
Hey, thank you so much, man. So happy to be here.
Glad you could come on.
Yes.
So you moved down to Miami last year.
Yes.
What is it like coming back to Minneapolis now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is like the weather change between Miami and Minneapolis. I love coming back up here though. A bunch of my team is in Minneapolis, a bunch of my family's up here. So we try to come back every 6 weeks or so just to remain kind of in the culture here. And it just so ends up that our other time is spent in Miami.
When did that initial interest come to you to move down to Miami?
Yeah, so about a year and a half ago, I started going down there to visit some friends. I ended up just going once a month because I love the culture of South Florida so much. And I grew up in Minneapolis, but I also lived in Australia and in South Carolina. And so I started going down. First time, I loved it. I went down the next month, and I literally just kept going every single month just to spend time with my friends and just to be down there. And then I hit a spot where last year I was like, okay, I'm gonna move there when my lease is up. And I ended up getting a spot down there, and I moved last September full time, even though I've had a place down there since last June.
How do you feel about all the negative Miami, Florida stuff, all the news that's going down there? Do you feel like that stuff is true? Do you feel like it's
100%? I think in certain pockets possibly. Miami has this wild stigma attached to it, where people say it's this crazy place to be all the time, which isn't true at all. I have an amazing community down there, really great friends, and we live 20 minutes away from downtown Miami. So when people think about Miami, they think of South Beach and just a party all the time, which yes, that is one part of it, but that's not the entire region of South Florida by any means. So I'm obsessed with the culture, the weather, the people, the culture is the biggest thing down there because it's so diverse, and I love the food. I love all of it.
Yeah, if you were to name your favorite thing about Miami, what would it be?
I mean, I think I have to say my fiance is my favorite thing about Miami, but then also I belong to this church down there called VU Church, and that's the community that surrounds that group of people is something I've never experienced before. So that was one of the big drawing factors to get down there.
How did you get involved in the VU Church?
That's basically, it started because of Instagram. So so the pastor is Rich Wilkerson Jr., and Rich is a pretty well-known younger millennial pastor that's out right now. He was actually the pastor for Kim and Kanye's wedding. He's a pastor for Justin Bieber. So he's had a lot of news around him. But what I was so drawn to was the creative aspect behind the church and the community that they've built. It's a community of generosity and a community of encouraging other people and always celebrating. And that was something that I'd never seen before. And so I initially just started meeting people through Instagram that went to the church. And so when I first visited, I had probably 40 friends down there in the area, and that just continued to grow the more time I spent down there in a way I've never seen.
Mm-hmm. So you've been a creative entrepreneur from an early age.
Yeah.
You shared with me that you collected seashells and sold them, and now you're a global entrepreneur. What has been some of the most defining moments that you believe have propelled you to this point in your life right now?
Yeah, I think Some of the biggest things is just trying things. So like from an early age, I was literally just creating stuff because I wanted to create it and see if I could make some extra money off of it. I think money's always a factor, and the freedom of having your own, doing things on your own time. So that's really why I did a lot of my entrepreneurial endeavors, was to try things out and then also have that flexibility that I wouldn't have with a normal job. So I did anything from literally when I was 7, I started making shark tooth necklaces and shell necklaces, walking up and down the beach in Florida, making like hundreds of dollars as a 7-year-old. It was crazy. Did that every year. And then I did clothing lines. I did music for a while. I co-owned a studio. I worked on a TV show for a bit. And now this product and project that I'm working on, Sunday, the Bible study, everything that we have going on right now is the first global success for sure. We're in almost every country in the world. We're in every state in the US, and it's been propelled to a whole nother level than I could have expected. And it's really just by trying new things. When I get an idea, we just make it. There isn't a lot we just go for it. Like, no matter what people say, a lot of people think I'm crazy for some of the stuff that we pursue, but I just have fun making new products and trying to make them sell. And a lot of stuff fails. I failed like time and time again for 10 years or more of my life, but it's all worth it because every single time you learn from something.
Totally agree. How was the Bible study initially created?
Yeah. So I was living out in Australia at the time, and I was studying the Bible super intensely for 9 months. We were studying 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And by the time I was done with that, I had about 20 pages of notes per book of the Bible. And I ended up teaching a small group of people when I came back to Minnesota. I taught them for the course of 9 months, basically going through all of the notes that I had just acquired.
So it wasn't the Bible study at the time, it was just a bunch of notes?
It was literally just a bunch of notes on my computer because I was interested in the Bible and I wanted to help other people that I knew. And so by the time that I was done teaching them, my notes were kind of more like solidified. They were cleaned up in order to share them with someone else. And I thought I was going to move out to Australia to teach, but I wasn't able to because I had originally skipped the basic program and just gone to the advanced program. But because of that, I wasn't able to teach in the advanced program. And so I was kind of devastated because I thought that's what my plan was. I thought I was going to be moving out to Australia. Turned out that wasn't the case. And I felt like I was supposed to create this thing called the Bible study. I spent 9 months going through my notes, adding questions, narrowing down all the content. And then I spent 3 months designing it. And at the beginning of 2017, it was good to go. It was ready to go to print. I started pitching to a bunch of investors, started getting offered quite a bit of money for it. But I just didn't feel right about that at the time. So I kind of sat on it for like 6 months and just prayed about it and just tried to figure out what exactly the best path was going to be for it. And then all of a sudden people started just giving me money. They'd be like, here's $5,000, build a website. Here's $500, print some promo copies. And I was like, okay, I might have something here.
Who are those people that were giving like $5,500? Were they just
literally just
completely normal
people that I knew? Yeah. Like family, friends, and I've always had like a lot of mentors and a lot of business people that speak into my life, and it was just them. And so we ended up doing a Kickstarter campaign in June of 2017, and we ended up doing $24,000 in pre-orders in 30 days. And at the time for me, that was like incredible. Like it was way more than I expected us to do, but it allowed us to go to print with the study. And so we got the books a few months later, and it didn't do well right away. And I was like, what the heck? We just had this successful campaign. Why isn't it doing well right now? And I just felt like, God said that my heart was like in the wrong place for it. And at that time, I wanted to be a speaker and a pastor, and I wanted to write books, but that's like not really what I want to do or enjoy doing. And so I kind of took a few weeks off, sat back and was like, what do I want to do with my life? And I realized that what I'm good at is developing tools for people to further their faith. And once I came to that conclusion and kind of restructured the way we were doing things, that's when the business began to grow. And all of 2018, I was running it kind of by myself. I had people doing fulfillment for me, but then I started building out the team with you guys and all of Active, and that's when our business went. I mean, went like 15x last year, just by building out the right team and having the right people around.
Yeah, crazy growth. Would you say that it really just propelled at the beginning once you like changed your mindset around the Bible study, or what was that kind of like transition?
Yeah, I think it was more of clarity on what I wanted to do. Because initially I was like, man, I want to be on stage, I want to write books, but I don't feel like that's what my purpose is. I don't feel like my purpose in life is to preach from stage or to even write books. I don't love writing, but I know how to write, and I saw a need for a product. And that's kind of everything that we do, is seeing a need for a product and developing a solution to fix that problem. And so that's kind of what the Bible study was, and that's what that transition was like really bringing clarity to what I wanted to do in life. And I knew that I needed to develop tools and create products instead of me being this person that people see. It's more focused on the products.
Is there a need you see in the world right now that you want to build a product for?
I think everything that we're doing is huge, because you have a lot of people, especially like in the Christian community, that like biblical illiteracy is huge. You have like a ton of people that I think there's like 6.5 billion Christians in the world or something like that. Maybe it's 65. Shoot, I should have my numbers down for sure. But out of all those people, only 45% of Christians in the US read the Bible once a month or less. And out of Gen Z, 75% of people only read the Bible once a month or less. And so I just see this need that if you have all these people that are considering themselves Christians, but they don't understand their faith or know what they believe in, I see that as a huge problem. And so there's a need there for people to not look at the Bible and not look at their faith in an intimidating way, but we're trying to bring them new products in order to like simplify their approach and show that it can be a lot easier than they make it up to be. And like, I'm a huge hip hop head. Like, I've always loved pop culture and everything that's going on. So I take a lot of those aspects and really like drive them into our design, our excellence. Like, everything that we put out has to look cool and relevant instead of a lot of products that are more lame.
Because you really tailor your products more to Gen Z and like the millennial generation.
100%. Totally. I think early on we developed a character profile, and once you do that, it really clarifies your messaging as a whole. And so we decided early on that, okay, our character is a 22-year-old female. She shops at Urban Outfitters. She listens to Frank Ocean. She has white walls and plants in her room. And because of that, all of our photos and videos tailored to that person. It doesn't mean that people my dad's age aren't going to buy the book. It doesn't mean that the girl's boyfriend isn't going to buy the book or any of our products, but it really clarifies our messaging so that when you look at what we are and what we create, you understand. And I think a lot of companies struggle with that because they don't have a clear character profile, and they're like, oh, well, my products are for this person and this person and this person. And so because of that, they'll create one video ad that tailors to all those people, but in reality, it's going to be jumbled. If it really does tailor to all those people, they should make creative content for each of those people. For us, it was like, cool, we're going to develop a character, we're going to do everything for them. And because of that, I think that's really increased our success because it's clear with what we are and what we create.
So you do have like this customer profile created.
Yeah.
That's very detailed. How long did it take you to actually be able to like lay out the details of that?
I think honestly we did it in like one day. We were just like, okay, this is who our person is that we see buying a lot of it. So like because of Instagram analytics and stuff, you can see that, okay, out of my Instagram handle, 75% of the people that follow me are female, and they're between the ages of like 18 to 35. And so we just narrowed it down to be like, okay, cool, let's just create something in order for anything that we do in the future so that it's clear. It doesn't have to be that 22-year-old is who's buying our products right now, but we know that if we keep it clear at that, eventually those people will.
Mm-hmm. And then you've helped over 30,000 people understand the Bible better and grow closer to God. In your own life, what do you wish you could understand both internally and externally about yourself better?
Wow, that's a good question. What do I wish I could understand about myself better? I think like your childhood and your upbringing plays so much into who you are and who you've become. So my childhood and my upbringing is very unique compared to a lot of people. So my mom is a 4-time cancer survivor. So from when I was 4 to 15, she was in and out of the hospital a bunch. And because of that, that really influenced who I am today, because she was always the most positive person that I knew. She would always look at the situation and be like, hey, it could be worse. Even though she was sent home with a 5% chance to live, it didn't matter. She was always focused on the positive. And so I think like when I reflect on my life a lot, I'm able to look through a lens that was developed during that time period, and I'm able to understand who I am now and who like God's created me to be, and what my purpose is on life. So
is there something that interests you externally about the world that you would like to understand better?
I think I'm always really interested in marketing and branding and why people do things that they do. Like what makes people move. I'm fascinated by that. I'm also fascinated by like how people make money and how people survive. Especially in like a younger culture where you have a lot of people that are always like rocking the coolest shoes and like always have like nice stuff. I'm always trying to figure out how people make money. But I think the biggest thing is really like what makes people tick, what makes them buy the things they do, and what makes people like respond in certain ways. I'm fascinated by like murals and like selfie walls and stuff. I do a lot of art as well. And so just like as I'm developing like photo walls at conferences and stuff, like what makes people want to take photos in front of that? Like what is the internal drive that makes them want to share that?
Because you've been collecting art as well. Yeah. How's that been going for you?
Bro, I love it. I'm like obsessed with art and art collecting. I think it's such like an interesting business. Like buying a piece of art and then flipping it for more a few years later. I'm definitely early stages of it, but I have a lot of friends that are artists. I have a lot of people like in my wheelhouse that are crushing it. And so I just do it because I like my place to look cool, but I know that it'll also like turn into a financial investment in the future. And I just like being a part of the scene because I love street art, and I love, like, I've always had a huge like desire and drive for things that are like graffiti hip hop based. And so when I'm looking at art, when I'm collecting art, it all has to do with some sort of street art.
Yeah, if you can't find art, you might as well create it.
Exactly, for sure. Totally. And so I've been making quite a bit lately. We made like 15 pieces the last couple of weeks, and we're giving some away, selling some. I just do it because it's fun, because we use the phrase, the Bible is good for you. Like all of our branding, we liked it to be like super clear and straightforward. So we use that phrase a lot. So I've been putting that on my art. We've been planning that out for our future murals and just like capitalizing on that phrase.
And then as an entrepreneur in the religious space, how have you handled the negative criticism that comes with building a business. And I specifically kind of do just want to touch on like other people that will maybe look at you and they'll be like, just being someone in that space and being able to like still make an impact, I guess.
Yeah. We get a lot of people talking crap. A lot of people talk crap all the time about what I'm doing, whatever. Early on, when I was a kid, my mom always used to say, if someone's like talking crap to you, it's because they're jealous of something. And so I had that like embedded in me from an early age. So really, whenever like we get people coming against us or talking negatively towards what we're doing, I just brush it off because I know we're doing the right thing. And this is between like me and God and what I feel like my role on earth is. And so it's like, that's their problem.
Yeah, that's just something that like interests me as a topic.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, you're making such a large impact in like people's lives.
Yeah.
And if like other people look at you and they're like, oh, you're like you're like obviously growing in success.
Yeah.
Like you can't look at that as through like a negative view lens. You have to look at that like, no, you're actually like making an impact.
Right. 100%. And respond with kindness. That's the biggest thing. Instead of like clapping back at them and like people that talk crap in comments or whatever, instead of responding in a negative way to negativity, like I think it's always cool to respond in kindness, and like that changes the way that their relationship is with you. Like they expect you to be negative back to them, but if you're like, no man, love you, like cool, thanks, like I'm sorry that you disagree with what we're doing, but like I still care about you, then they're like, wait a second, you're different, like why aren't you also coming against me?
Yeah.
So responding to negativity with kindness is always huge.
Yeah, there's nothing else you can do but just lead them with love.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
And then what is it like? So you've shared that you've kind of met some people that you really looked up to when you were younger. Yeah. What is that like now to be able to, like, you shared that you met Chance the rapper and like other people. What does that feel like, I guess?
Man, it's wild because I hope this doesn't come off in the wrong way, but I've always felt like I was going to know some people, like some specific people that I also looked up to. And so just to see it actually happen kind of blows my mind. But at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, well, like I knew this was going to happen. Like I felt like that was going to happen for a long time. Yeah, essentially. And so like I have a list of people that I think I'm going to spend time with in the next like year, and probably half of them it's already happened this year. And that's wild because it just like, I guess like speaking that out and being like, cool, this is what I think is going to happen, and usually it does. But like in the moment, it's always like, oh dang, this is crazy. Like this is actually like, these are my role models. Or like when I get texts from like my role models, or like them reaching out to hang out with me, that blows my mind because I just wouldn't. Like I wrote this thing in my parents' basement in Minnesota 2 years ago, and so now that like people that I look up to reach out to me, I mean, it doesn't even like, it's surreal. And so I just approach it from like a super humble standpoint, because I don't, like, it's amazing what we've already done and where we're at. And I don't think it's like, I think it's God's hand on it so much. And there's just like a favor attached to what we're doing that like isn't me. Like it's just happening because like it's supposed to happen. And because of that, like, I'm just super humbled by it all every single time.
Through meeting the different people that you have, is there someone that just like really stands out as like, oh, I want to connect with them again? Like I just want to become closer to them.
Yeah, I think I would love to be friends with Chance. Like you mentioned him, and I think that would be like the coolest thing ever. Justin Bieber would be awesome. Like I'd love to be friends with him. And then there's like certain pastors that I would love to spend more time with. Carl Lentz, Judah Smith would be awesome. Mike Todd, Rich Wilkerson is a friend of mine, and that's incredible. I love all those guys so much and what they're doing, and I'm so inspired by them that anytime that I'm around them, it just encourages me to keep going and inspires me to like even become better. So I'm very like, I watch what all these guys are doing so much. And anytime that I'm in the same proximity of them, I'm like just very aware of how things are, how they do things, because I can pick up so much from them. And it's just like a humbling experience, man.
Is there anything that you've like really learned through just meeting those other individuals that you've kind of like taken away and implemented in your own life?
I think like the focus on excellence and putting out like the best products that you can is huge. When I was younger, when I was like 17, my dad started having me get coffee with CEOs and business leaders. He would have me cold email them or cold call them, and they would almost always agree to it. And I was also, just because of my job at the time, I was in hospitality, I was surrounded by some of like the top business people in Minnesota. And that allowed me to build those relationships and ask them questions and really like learn from them in the moment. One of the biggest things that I learned was to do something towards your goal every single day. So it's like the law of like cumulative whatever. Like spend 10 minutes every single day over the course of the week instead of 1 hour on a Tuesday, because you're going to always have it at the forefront of your mind that way, and it's going to grow so much faster than if you just put a little bit of time aside on a random day of the week.
Yeah, just like those little incremental steps are going to just grow up into something much bigger.
100%.
You can imagine.
Yeah, like, oh cool, you want to be a designer? Great, design one logo one day. Spend 10 minutes researching the next day. Spend 10 minutes emailing somebody the next day. As long as you're continually doing something every single day, it just grows much faster.
And then you've been able to accomplish the extremely difficult task of becoming a successful entrepreneur. What is your biggest goal you have in life right now?
I think my biggest goal is just to continue to strive towards like the freedom that comes with developing new products and being an entrepreneur. So like that's one for sure. Meeting a few people that I really want to meet and spend time with, that's another one. We want to create a TV show. We want to do like a bunch of these different events. We have all these ideas for like fun stuff, because I'm basically at a point now where it's like, cool, these specific businesses run themselves essentially, and now I just want to like create fun stuff and see if it pops off and see if it actually helps people the way that other stuff does. So yeah, I think anytime that I get an idea for a new product, it's just like, yeah, let's try it. Let's have fun.
Yeah, I mean, you'd rather take the risk of not knowing.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be
totally.
I mean, you'd never want to look back and be like, well, that product could have impacted so many people and it could have been amazing.
Right. 100%. That's the biggest thing is like, cool, if you get an idea, just try it. So many people are like, yo, it has to be 100% before I release it. And I'm like, yo, it only has to be 70% before you release it, because it's going to change no matter what. And I think quantity over quality is so much more important as you're starting out. It's like, yeah, if you can put out a new product every single month for a year, or spend a year prepping for one product, I would always put out more, because if people see you have one product, great, what else do you have? They're going to want something else. So the more that you have out there, whether it's creative content, whether it's products, whatever, however you express yourself, I always think more is better than quality.
And then I have a question from Devin Winter. What has been your greatest lesson since launching the Bible study?
My greatest lesson since launching the Bible study. I think the biggest thing is building the right team and learning to delegate certain tasks. So often early on it's necessary, but once you hit a spot where it's like, it's too much to handle. We hit that after a year. It was like way too much to handle. And so being able to delegate small tasks to other people, because people want to help you out, and being able to hire people that are able to take over things that you don't have to personally be a part of is major. And that's really when our business grew a ton, was when I began to delegate more tasks to different people, hire out agencies, hire people. It was a game changer.
I mean, it can be great working independently and just like growing the business, but you're gonna get to a point where you're like, I need a team.
Totally.
And being able to create a team and build a team is like a true entrepreneur.
For sure.
Because you're impacting not only yourself and the other people that you're able to work with through like the services and products you sell, but also the people you bring in through the economy and like friends and family to work with you.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Then to finish off the podcast, I asked 4 questions, and the first one is, what would you define as your true north in life?
I think God's plan for my life and what I feel like my purpose is. And so my purpose is to develop tools for people to further their faith and grow in that area.
And then if you could go camping for a week with 3 people, alive or dead, who would those 3 people be and why?
Dang, I hate camping. That is my nightmare.
Could go glamping.
Glamping. If I could go to a resort in the Bahamas, who would I go with? I would go with Jesus. I would go with my fiance, and I would go with Chance the Rapper.
Chance the Rapper. Oh. and then if you could explore one place in the entire world, where would you want to go and why would you want to go there?
I'm fascinated by like the Caribbean. I love the Caribbean. I love like that whole region. I just love the island life. And even though I'm like, I think it comes from an early age where I grew up in Minnesota and all I knew was hard work and grinding. Like I didn't take a day off for 6 years in my 20s because I wanted it so bad. I hadn't, up until January, I hadn't gone on vacation since I was like 23. So it was like 9 years without ever going on vacation. And so because of that, I've always been fascinated with like island life and super relaxing stuff. So I think it would be good for me just to experience that some and be a part of it, even though it's not like fully where my heart is or what I know. I could definitely, I would go to a place where I could relax.
I kind of want to throw this question in there because you mentioned that you didn't take a day off for like 6 years.
Yeah.
What was it like knowing that you kind of like took that day off?
Yeah, so I didn't take it off because I had a full-time job. I was working in hospitality, and then I was so like I wanted to build my own business so bad, even though they failed in the long run. I was in this messed up mindset where if I was like hanging out with my friends, I was wasting my time. So the only time that I would like hang out with people was over meals, and it wasn't healthy at all. And so over that 6-year period, I guess, it was like, I just always had something that I had to do. And so there was never a day where I could like actually enjoy it. But I enjoyed everything that I was working on. I just thought I was wasting my time. It's not healthy. I don't suggest it for anybody, but that's what I did.
Yeah. And then if you were to leave your last piece of advice / message right now, what would that be?
I would say like be obedient to like the voice of God and what you feel like you're supposed to do in life. So often we have other people's opinions that weigh into everything that we're thinking. And if you cut all those out and go with your gut, you're going to be a lot happier in the long run. And
then Zach Windahl, how can people find you on social media? Probably not going to be traveling too much
I know.
anymore.
Seriously, I fly back on Thursday or on Saturday as long as my flight doesn't get canceled.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram under Zach Windahl, also TBS Study, The Brand Sunday, thebrandsunday.com. Some stuff coming out on YouTube, kind of all over the place, but we promote Zach Windahl stuff a lot because that's where it all comes from.
Sweet. Zach, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for the positive impact you're making in the world.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for listening to the show. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a review on iTunes, share it with friends and family, and you can find us at ever_north on Instagram and Twitter, and EverNorthCo on Facebook.